AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. We're live today at Spine Center in Baton Rouge, and there is much celebration going on. Will Wade heading back to Baton Rouge. We told you shortly after 1 o'clock today. Planes or wheels up to Raleigh to go pick up Will Wade. They are en route home now, and Will Wade will be landing in Baton Rouge here this evening for the second time now. LSU head men's basketball coach. It is a wild day, and I'm not quite sure that there's any place in the country where something like this could have unfolded. I mean, we in the open of the show today, we talked about it. This is a truly unique situation. People often misuse unique. Unique literally means one, like just one. This is a unique situation. LSU has rehired a coach that it fired for cause. So that in and of itself makes this unique. But this is also a situation where LSU has tremendous alignment that they have worked to put in place, starting with Governor Landry, with Lee Mallett as the chairman of the board, with this very much as part of their intention. Dr. Wade Roos, who's LSU system president, who came over from McNeese, hiring Heath Schroyer earlier today, which was also always a non-negotiable for Will coming back. They got that done and put the pieces in place to get Will Wade to leave Raleigh after one season to come back to Baton Rouge. Probably a year delayed. You know, one of the things that I do think is sort of an interesting component, I have been asked this a good bit today, is where does Verge Osbury stand in this? Because I know typically the athletic director hires and fires coaches. And we haven't even talked yet today about Matt McMahon, which is sort of the unfortunate part of how all this came together, but that is part of the business. And Matt McMahon is a great person, enjoyed covering Matt during his time in Baton Rouge. He just didn't win enough. I mean, you went 3-15 in back-to-back seasons and left him so. And there were circumstances outside of his control with injuries and different things like that. But the bottom line is you just didn't win enough. So, and for all of this to happen with the Will Wade noise around before he was even, let go is unfortunate that it played out the way it did. But there just wasn't maybe necessarily a good way to go about doing this, because LSU wasn't going to fire Matt McMahon and conduct a search. This was we've talked about this for weeks and weeks and weeks now. This was always one of these two scenarios. They were either going to bring in Will Wade because the governor, the board president, the system president, all that wanted Will Wade, or they were retaining Matt McMahon because all the people who didn't want to move on from Matt McMahon for financial reasons were still in that camp, that they didn't want to move on from Matt McMahon for financial reasons. And so the only way that this was going to happen was Will Wade. I mean, this was a singular scenario. It was either you are hiring Will Wade or you're retaining Matt McMahon. That was it. So Matt McMahon was let go today after 4 seasons in Baton Rouge, and Will Wade is on his way back. So we'll get plenty more reaction from the college basketball world and landscape and all the impact that it'll have. Lane Kiffin tweeted, sort of a hashtag just different welcome to Will Wade back to LSU, and we'll likely hear from Coach Wade next week. As I mentioned in the open of the show, if you missed it, it was told to me earlier today that they don't want to hold the press conference on Friday because the women's basketball team is playing in the Sweet 16. So they don't want to distract from women's basketball this weekend So and I don't think they want to hold the press conference on Saturday. So I think very likely what you'll see is Monday or early. It's not yet been decided, but very likely early next week when they'll have the press conference to reintroduce Will Wade as the LSU men's basketball coach. So LSU football was back on the practice field today out at LSU. We gave you our practice report. If you missed it, it's on demand, AFR On Demand Podcast, YouTube. You can find it. But afterwards, Whit Weeks, Trades Green, Ty Benefield, Jordan Seaton met with reporters. Probably the most notable thing here is Whit, who's been obviously not been practicing so far, talking about the spring and being out with injury right now.
I mean, overall, it's been really good. Just trying to get healthy right now. I mean, been grinding in the weight room. I mean, I don't like not being out there with the guys, but the number one goal for me right now is just to get healthy, to be able to roll into fall camp.
The other thing that I thought was interesting was him talking about Blake Baker. And, you know, Whit was one of the guys that they identified as a key returnee. I'm going to throw P.J. Woodland in there, so I'm going to say 6. And there were 3 on offense and 3 on defense. Of course, it was Pickett, Woodland, and Whit on defense. And it was Braylon Moore, Harlan Berry, Trades on offense. Those were the 6. And Whit had a decision to make, and it was a season where he was a preseason All-American, and he didn't live up to that expectation because his season was shortened and limited due to injury. But Whit talked about Blake Baker and the role that Blake played in the decision to come back.
I mean, I love that dude to death. I mean, he's one of my favorite humans in the world. So for us bringing him back, that was honestly like, once I knew he was coming back, that's when I was like, all right, I'm coming back too.
By the way, that's a returning player who spent 3 years now under Blake. Well, I guess the last 2 under Blake Baker going into year 3. And it is going to be interesting because remember, Chris Kiffin is working with the linebackers and Blake Baker is working with the stars. So they're probably going to have less practice time together this year, although it's still Blake Baker's defense. But that's a guy who's been with Blake Baker. Ty Benefield is a transfer who's just gotten here and gone through 2 practices. This is what Ty Benefield said today about Blake Baker.
Coach Baker has a similar approach to coaches that I've dealt with, in the past, and that's that coach that's hands-on and not afraid to, really, get in there and let you know how he feels and how it should be. Just a great coach who truly loves you. He's gonna get on you, but that's because he loves you, and that's how all the coaches, are. And I'm very excited to play under all these coaches.
Ty Benefield committed to LSU in January. I mean, don't let this be lost. He committed in January. The semester started a couple of weeks later. He's going through 2 practices. And he's talking about his relationship with this coach who loves you. And he's going through 2 practices. My goodness, what that says about Blake Baker and his ability to relate to his players. I thought that was incredible to hear. By the way, you're going to love Ty Benefield. I think you could probably get that just from listening to that one very thoughtful soundbite. But when you couple that, the personality with the player and the physicality, it's incredible. Play number 1. This was Benefield talking about being a hard hitter.
I've never been when I was younger, I was never a hitter. I started off as a quarterback. And, what's funny is that I always used to avoid contact. And really kind of what changed in my life was definitely, high school. I had some life-changing events, and it kind of shaped me to be the man I am today, but also helped me to really break down that barrier of contact. So every tackle that I approach is with relentless effort and knowing that I got to make this play for my teammates.
Super impressive, man. Y'all are going to love him. He's they identified, and this coaching staff identified Ty Benefield as the single safety that they were going to go after. He was their one guy. They were all in on him. And he hasn't disappointed in any respect. And you can tell he's going to be a fan favorite this year. I also thought, speaking of the transfer, so Jordan Seaton, the big left tackle, who was sort of that crown jewel at the end of the signing of the class, cherry on top, whatever you want to call it. Jordan Seaton had options, and this was him explaining his decision to come to LSU.
My decision to come here was just based off, it just means more, Coach uses that quote, "It's just different here," and I really believe that. Being here is really just different from how we train to how we work, and the word extra around here we're big on extra because just doing what's required is not enough.
I mean, these guys are all saying the right things. It's 2 days into spring, and it's easy to sort of quote unquote win the press conference and be good. But some of these, like Ty Benefield and Jordan Seaton, is the first time I've heard these guys, give interviews and media availability, and they'll blow you away. So I thought it was so interesting, too, listening to Jordan Seaton talk about Cookie, Lane Kiffin's nephew, how he's the closer. It was a great soundbite as well. He also talked about his body transfer. Play number 2, Muse, he talked about about how he sort of transformed his body. It's been a story that's been told a little bit right now. But listen to this one when he talked about what sort of motivated him.
It was a random person. He was running hills, right? So Trey Daz was like, hey, man, you trying to run hills on Saturday? I'm like, I'm down. I was like, I already thought about it because I just seen somebody randomly running hills. I'm like, it just made me feel like he was outworking me. So I was like, we got to run hills. So we were on the same page without even knowing, which was crazy.
Dude was up there running the levee on a Saturday just because he saw someone else running the levee. Like, I said this earlier in the week about Jordan Seaton, and it's worth repeating for those that missed it. There's this old axiom with the NFL, with the draft. It's the thing you don't know is how money will change someone. You could have the great work ethic, all the stuff, but when they get paid, does that change them? Well, Jordan Seaton's a guy who got paid a giant number to come here, and he went into the portal, left Colorado. He could have stayed at Colorado, still been a first-round draft pick. But he left Colorado, went into the portal to go try to get a payday and maybe play in a better conference, all that sort of stuff. He got his money, and what has he done so far? He's transformed his body. The work ethic's there, all of it. So, whenever we talked so much throughout that portal window about the evaluation, we used that word a million times because everyone I talked to within that football program, if it was coaches or players or parents of players or front office people or whoever, boosters, they all said the same thing, the evaluation. And it's like this deck that Kiffin and Billy Glasscock use. It's so much more than just, can you backpedal on what's your 40 time? It's all encompassing from like academics and personality and leadership, and they have a grade for all that stuff. And you hear these guys talk, these transfers talk, and it kind of fires a little bit, right? It kind of makes sense. So really impressive to hear those guys talk today. All right, it's After Further Review. Our Thursday shows are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing here in Baton Rouge and all over Louisiana, and now their Dallas, Texas office as well. Their expertly trained nurses will come in your home to deliver whatever service you may need. Last week we had a nurse at our house giving Erica was down and out again. She was getting an IV in-house. We've done that before. We've done Drew's blood labs. Maybe you're a man on HRT. You need that therapeutic phlebotomy. They can come to your home or office, do your blood draws there. It's Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Maybe you're bringing home a new baby and you need to sleep at night. Their nurses can take care of your baby for a few nights while you sleep and catch up. Or maybe it's caring for an elderly parent and you got to go to work, or you want to go, out for a night out and you need care at home. Well, the nurses can come in home. It's Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. DecisionCriticalBR.com. DecisionCriticalBR.com. Okay, it is After Further Review. We're here at Spine Center. Had a chance. LSU baseball opens up their series with Kentucky on Friday at the Box. Nick Mingione, the head coach of the Wildcats, had a chance to catch up with him a bit ago. You'll hear that conversation next here on AFR.
After Further Review.
GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions. Glowresources.com. We highlight employer because they're not interested in having you call if you're looking for a job. They'll find you. Who they want to talk to at Glow Resources is the business owner. If you're the business owner, the hiring manager, the ops manager, the HR manager, the VP, if you're in charge of finding the right people in your business and you need help, you need Glow Resources. Because not only can they help you find the right person and make your business the most efficient it could possibly be, they guarantee their work. 96% success rate. 96% of the employees they hire succeed, stay. And if for whatever reason it doesn't work, they'll give you a prorated refund or they'll find a replacement for free. It's Glow Resources. Check them out at GLO, glowresources.com.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Hard to believe, in his 10th season at Kentucky, SEC Coach of the Year a couple of seasons ago, made the College World Series. Nick Mingione, good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us here as the Tigers get ready to host the Wildcats out at the box this weekend. Coach, it's our pleasure. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you so much.
It's always our pleasure. Hey, I know a lot's been made of this over the years, but you and Jay have a pretty close relationship you've talked about. For those that aren't familiar, can you kind of fill us in on you two, your backstory, how y'all became so close?
Yeah, I was the volunteer coach at Kentucky, and we were working at camp in Las Vegas, and I go out there, and he's at US. Oh, I take that back. At this time, he is I think he's at USD now, and we start talking, and he comes over to me and says, "Hey, man, were you at Embry-Riddle?" I was like, "Yes." He was like, "I was at Point Loma. We played against each other in the College World Series." I'm like, "No way." So I just hit it off with them, two NAIA guys, and then I went out the next year, and we just started hanging out again, and we just started talking baseball. And I quickly realized that how bright he was, and he was a guy that I'm like, man, I need to surround myself with this dude. This dude's smarter than me. And we really have been friends ever since. And, really close friends. He stayed a night in my hotel room the night before I got married. I just think the world of him, and I really believe he's the best baseball coach in college baseball.
What's it been like watching your friend's success, like winning 2 championships in 3 years? But then also, man, it's like he's also a competitor, man. He's in your league.
Yeah, but for me, our friendship means the world to me. He's been an ultimate encourager for me, and I hope I've been the same for him. And when you see somebody that you care about that much have success, you can't help but be happy. And just pulling for him every time we're not playing, of course, because when you have that good a friend, yes, the competition this weekend, don't get me wrong, I want to beat his brains out, right? He wants to do the same for me, right? But at the same time, when it all finishes, he's definitely a guy that, for me, it's easy to root for.
Is Jay Johnson a wedding dance guy? How is he on the dance floor?
Yeah, you know what? At the time, he came to the wedding by himself, and I don't even remember him doing anything with dancing. I can't imagine him dancing. Can you?
I absolutely cannot. But you never know, man. You get a few cold pops in you, and people get brave. A little liquid courage. You know what I mean? Maybe we see a side of Jay we don't get to see in press conferences. Nick Mingione's our guest. Hey, I want to get into the series here in just a quick second, but there's one other thing that I am curious for you and your situation, because you're in a spot where you've built a program. There's tremendous expectation. Resources in the NIL era are different everywhere, but you're at a place where, I don't know, man, it kind of feels like basketball is, certainly for the SEC, it's a one-of-one for how much emphasis is there. What's it like for you in this? Because we have the conversation here with LSU all the time, but what's it like for you at Kentucky right now with the resources in the rev share era, especially with the 500-pound gorilla in basketball over there?
Yeah, I feel like we're in a great spot. And the thing I would say is, when people, hopefully they watch us play, they basically say that, hey, man, Kentucky's a team. There's no individuals. They're legitimately a team. And I think anybody that watches us play, I think they'll tell you that. We have a system, a plan, there's a culture built, and we're trying to do whatever we can to help Kentucky win. It's about helping Kentucky win. And it's not about one or two individuals. It's just not. That's not how we play. That's not how we teach. That's not how we coach. And we're a team, and we're trying to win for Kentucky. And what we've done a really good job of is through the evaluation piece of high school talent and obviously the portal. So that's what we've done well, and we have what we need to be successful.
Yeah. You do it differently. I think we all know. We've watched your team for a decade. You'll get on base, you'll steal bases, you put action, put pressure on a defense. I mean, for context, 69 stolen bases, your opponents have 20. I mean, it's a different way of doing it. Is it look, I mean, you obviously had a sweep of Alabama, lost this past weekend to Ole Miss, 2-1. Is it different trying to build a roster that way in the Southeastern Conference when you're kind of doing it in sort of a counterculture way, how everybody else is building their roster?
Well, to put it in perspective, 2 years ago we play Ole Miss, and they picked 10 times all year at second base. In 3 games, they picked 20 times second base against us. Like the whole year.
Yeah.
Right? So I say all that because I like for our opponents to prepare for something different. And, your football coach is a perfect example. When you play Lane Kiffin, you better hurry up and get set. The second you make a tackle, there's no celebrating. You better hurry up and get on the ball because boom, 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 boom. Like, well, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, like that opponent has to prepare differently that week. Like it's not the normal, hey, let's go through our normal prep. Like, why are we working on picks 5 million times? Why are we working on all these bunting bits? We haven't done that since before the season started. Like, and knowing Jay, they're working on that all the time anyway, so he's not having to prepare any different because he's an awesome coach. But, like, we do force people to maybe do some things differently, and I like that. And I think easy coaching is sitting back doing nothing. Like, dude, I want to put a steal on. I want to put a hit and run on. I want to lay down a bunt. I want to hit a bomb. I want to send a guy first and third when he probably shouldn't have gone. Like, I just like creating pressure on our opponents. And I like doing things that are different. And I think easy coaching is sitting back doing nothing. And I'm not interested in easy coaching.
Nick Mingione's Wildcats will be at the box for 3 games this weekend. So that being the case, what have been your observations watching LSU, who has struggled mightily defensively this year?
Yeah, but the talent is there. Like, there's no question. Like, yeah, they may not have played their best baseball, but when you go up and down that roster, there's some really talented, good players. And you know what? Winning a national championship 2 of the last 3 years is not easy. And for this team, I mean, you just look up and down and you're like, yep, that's a real player. That's a real player. That's a real player. That's a real player. So I think you guys know this. You've seen them put it together at times. Have they put it together for the long stretches? Maybe not yet, but they have real players. And they're fully capable of playing good baseball.
Got a couple more for you. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Tyler Bell. I think most people know he's a preseason All-American. He's kind of been banged up a little bit this year and been limited. Can you give us an update on Tyler and maybe what the expectation is this weekend?
Yeah, he obviously, hurt his shoulder diving for a ball the very first game of the year. Sounds a lot like what Tommy White did diving back into first base years ago. For those LSU fans that remember that. So just much like Tommy, I think he probably DH'd before he got back in the field. So Tyler's been DHing, and he's really close to getting back on the field defensively. So he's getting better, though.
Wanted to ask also, just interesting and candidly just watching from afar, not covering your program on a day-to-day basis. I want to ask you about Ben Cleaver. I mean, he ate 83 innings for you last year, and it's been a little hot and cold. I don't think he's topped 75 pitches in an outing. Maybe just a thought on what's happened there with Ben so far this year?
Yeah, he got hurt in the fall and missed a majority of the fall, had a really freak accident with a piece of glass from a table at his house.
Oh, man.
Just a really freak deal, and missed the majority of the fall. Okay. So then you come back and you get to the early spring, and, he didn't play last summer because of all the stuff all the innings that he threw. So he worked on his body, did all that. And the first handful of weekends, he had not really just started pitching well. And he'd have some good outings and some bad ones and some good innings and some bad ones. But we feel like he's trending in the right direction. So that's a good thing for us.
Tigers and the Wildcats, 3-game series this weekend out at Alec Box Stadium. Hey, whenever the dance cam comes up, you and Jay want to go meet at home plate, a little like Savannah Banana style? What do you think?
I'll tell you who will dance. Watch our dugout. They're not afraid. They'll dance. They play. They have a good time, man. If you're looking for some entertainment, watch our guys. They play loose and free, and they compete hard. Don't get me wrong, but we got some good dancers in our dugout. You'll definitely see some of that going on.
I mean, Wildcats have played loose and free this year, 20-4, off to a 4-2 start in conference play. It's a big one for both teams out at the box this weekend. He's Nick Mingione. Coach, it's always our pleasure. Can't thank you for enough time here as we get closer to first pitch on Friday.
Yeah, I always love chatting with you. Thanks.
We appreciate Nick Mingione. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters too. Oh, and shades. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Big hat tip to Brandon Holly and the crew over at Relief Windows. Awesome people. Brandon and Adrian have built an awesome business. And man, every time you have someone from Relief Windows come into your home, it just makes sense. They're an extension of Brandon and Adrian, and you'll get it because Brandon often says to me, as a business owner, you have to be willing to spend your last dollar to make your customer happy. And when that's the mindset of the founder, the CEO of the company, and that attitude is mandated and pervasive throughout the entire organization, it doesn't matter if you're talking to Brandon or if you're talking to a sales rep or someone on the phone, or if it's a measure tech or an installer, it's always that same expectation. So when I tell you about Relief Windows, they're a premium product company, and you're going to get the best customer service experience. If you're just shopping price, it's not going to be Relief Windows. Like, they're not going to be the cheapest. If you want the best, it'll always be Relief Windows. Windows, door, siding, shutters, and shades too. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, y'all. It's Thursday edition of AFR. Thursday shows are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing, and we are live today from Spine Center in Baton Rouge. Our first time here at Spine Center. They got us in the conference room here on the third floor. Beautiful setup as I look out to this beautiful tree line, parkway, walkway out in front of the building. Great spot here. Make back pain or put back pain behind you. It is Spine Center, SpineCenterLA.com, SpineCenterLA.com. And remember, they got locations all over: Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Hammond, Walker, Lacombe, SpineCenterLA.com. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. Jimmy will be here in 15 minutes for Otterlocks. When we come back, can Will Wade realistically win big? And I'll get to a lot of your questions, comments. So email me, tweet me, text 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Got something you want to talk about, ask about with Will coming back to LSU? Hit me up. Stay here. It's AFR.
After further review.
Beautiful day in Baton Rouge, a beautiful opportunity to get by Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area: Seaton near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Like I tell you every single day, buy local, shop local, bypass the big box stores. Clegg's has been in our community for 60 years. 60 years, y'all. So if you need mulch or soil or flowers or patio pots or seeds or anything for your lawn or garden, maybe you need the weed killer or the ant pile killer or the mosquito spray or wasp or whatever. The mosquito eradicator I tell you about all the Aeon mosquito barrier that I tell you about all the time. Go see our friends at Clegg's Nursery. Support a great local retailer that's been in our community for 6 decades. You know what to do. Just plant something, buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalBR.com.
Here's the thing about Will Wade. You can like Will Wade. You cannot like Will Wade. You can be frustrated with Will Wade. You can disagree with Will Wade. He is going to win. Wherever he goes, he's going to win. He's going to win 20 or more games. He's going to go to the tournament. It's what he did at LSU. It's what he did at McNeese. It's what he did at NC State in a year. He's going to go back to LSU with a huge budget, and he's going to win. And so the SEC just got even better.
Mike O'Donnell from CBS Sports HQ. Whenever you remove all of the emotion and the exposed nerve endings, both in Baton Rouge, NC State, and adjacent basketball towns, ones that care deeply and will have an opinion about Will Wade's decision leaving NC State after 1 year, and you just think about basketball, Will Wade's the only coach that has consistently won at LSU since John Brady. He made a place that, for the large part of the past 30 years, has not cared about college basketball when he was here. There have been pockets of great success at LSU. It's such an oddity, actually, because, man, you think about quite literally some of the greatest players ever. Bob Pettit, Pete Maravich, Shaquille O'Neal, Chris Jackson. Like, there's this whole thing. You ever see this where people will put up like an all-time starting 5 from colleges or universities or whatever? And like LSU's starting five, like wins those brackets when they pop up, because like, all right, well, who's going to cover Shaq and who's going to cover the all-time leading scorer in the history of college basketball? It's just weird because LSU's had these pockets of incredible success and star talent, right? But it's never been sustainable here. So Will spending 5 seasons in Baton Rouge, they went to 3 NCAAs. Year 1, they went to the NIT. Every other year they were in the tournament except the COVID year, and they were a 20-win team. They were going to make the tournament that year. So he would have made the tournament 4 out of 5 years. At a place where like success hasn't been consistent. So, man, I don't know what the ceiling is here. I think just based on history, it feels like it's a place where Dale Brown went to the tournament 13 times, and you can do that consistently. Dale Brown made a couple of Final Fours. John Brady made a Final Four. You can get there. The commitment, buy-in has never been consistent enough to be consistently great. But in this era where we just watched Indiana win a national championship in football, I mean, if ever there was a time where it could happen, if you hit on the right players and you build that roster and you have a coach that knows how to maximize the talent, maybe it could happen. One of the interesting things, we talked earlier about how narratives change sometimes. When Will was here the first time, one of the real common criticisms of him was great energy, great recruiter, not a great bench coach. Like, that was a big knock on Will. And sometimes they'd fall short in those moments. I don't know what that ceiling may look like. But what I do know is this. So Will Wade, and he has told plenty of people, I think you got on, and maybe if you didn't know this because it was out of sight, out of mind, maybe it makes more sense now. But Will Wade still has so many meaningful relationships here. It's a giant reason why he's back, y'all. I mean, we've talked about Governor Jeff Landry and Lee Mallett and Wade Roos, and now Heath Schroyer coming over. But my goodness, the amount of business owners and friends that he has, and people who would go watch his games at McNeese and go watch his games at NC State. I mean, like lifelong relationships, friendships that he made while he was, the 5 seasons in Baton Rouge and the 2 at McNeese. He's made it known to so many people that he believes he can win a national championship here. And if he manages to pull that off, obviously it would be something, the success of which we've never seen here. But he's had the most consistent success of anybody here, except John Brady in between, since Dale Brown. And but it'll be a fascinating journey to watch how all this unfolds. Now, Tom Hart, the SEC Network, was on the next round, Jocks in Birmingham, and kind of gave a little bit of an opinion on why it's been so hard to win consistently at LSU in basketball.
I don't know why it's been so hard down there. I mean, even when they've had great players, I think there's something to be said for not being the main sport on campus and even being pushed down when you don't win. I mean, I remember the first time a million years ago, I went down to LSU to do a college basketball game, and it was maybe late February, and they'd been losing. And I asked, hey, are we going to have a decent crowd here tonight? And they said, no, baseball's playing Tulane. And I was dumbfounded, and it hadn't really changed. But they've got money people who want to invest, and they've got people who want to win. Things have changed in these days.
Will Wade's contract, by the way, I shouldn't say the contract, the term sheet that he has signed, which is signed by Verge Osbury and President Wade Roos. This is a term that runs through the the 2033 season. So from March 26th of 2026 to March 31st of 2023. So this looks like if I'm looking at this correctly, I believe that would be a 6-year deal. His first year's salary will be 3.6, and it'll increase incrementally by $100,000 every year to the final year of the deal, where it gets up to $4.1 million. It's something we talked about earlier in the show, which is Will Wade took less to come here. He'll make 3.6 in year one, as you just heard, and the numbers that I was told that NC State was offering Will Wade in a potential deal to stay in Raleigh was more than that. And when you look at the salaries of the coaches in the Southeastern Conference, Matt McMahon was at the bottom of the list. I'm looking at it right here. Matt McMahon was at $2.957 million. Stephen Pearl was just a hair above that at $3 million. Buddy McMillan at 3.2. Porter Moser at 3.3. Mark Byington at 3.6. Mike White at 4.1. Chris Jans at 4.2. Dennis Gates at 4.25. Anyway, you get it. All the way up to John Calipari, who's at 7.7. But the point is, Will Wade's deal is still going to keep him in the bottom 3 or 4 in the conference in coach in salary. So it's not like he took some giant payday to leave NC State and come here. As we said in the open, this is very much a situation where Will Wade was coming back to a place. It's probably the only place he would have left NC State for. I know that sounds like a throwaway line, but I believe him. I believe him. All right, it's After Further Review, y'all. Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home. Tomorrow's Friday in Lent. A lot of people looking for seafood options. Remember, at Rouse's, every day they got hot boiled crawfish. They also have got their hot and boiled kiosks. So you walk into Rouse's, you go by the where the food is being prepared. Go check out the hot and boiled kiosk. Boiled crawfish, boiled shrimp, fried catfish, so many great seafood options for your Fridays in Lent. Get on by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Final segment of the show's coming up. Jimmy, you'll be here for Auto Locks. Remember, if you missed anything, AFR On Demand, presented by Brett Golf. YouTube, podcast, just search AFR LSU or AFR Saints to get all of our content right there. But this has been really for the most part, a one-topic day. The lion's share of this conversation has been about Will Wade. All right, it's After Further Review. We're here at Spine Center in Baton Rouge. We appreciate so much our friends at Spine Center for hosting us here for the first time and can't wait to come back. SpineCenterLA.com. We'll knock out our final break of the show. Jimmy will be here to wrap it up on a Thursday edition of AFR presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing.
AFR.
Going through life feeling sick and tired all the time ain't a way to go through life. If you want to feel like your younger self again, you need to go see my friends at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. Yes, part of what they do is ED treatments. And I get it. People hear Goodwood and they see the logo and they laugh and they think it's funny. It's not just ED treatments. They do ED treatments. But primarily, men, I'm talking to you, hormone replacement therapy is something that if you have never considered, looked into, explored, you owe it to yourself and to your family to be the healthiest, best version of yourself you can be, to wake up and have amazing waking energy, to build muscle, to burn fat, to clear brain fog, to feel and function like you did when you were in your 20s. It's possible. YourGoodwood.com.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalBR.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical. We always appreciate Blasia and her great staff over at Decision Critical. As they say, it's not just healthcare, it's healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalBR.com. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Lock.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Almost forgot March Madness returns tonight. We get Sweet 16 games tonight. Totally forgot. What a day it's been. Jimmy's here. Otter, what up?
What's up, baby? Come on home, Willie Wade. Come on home, baby.
This place, man.
Exciting day.
This place. I mean, the amount of people who are like, what are y'all doing down there? I'm like, living large and loving life, baby.
Yeah.
What are you doing? It ain't boring, I'll tell you that much.
Worry about your own yard. We're not in the business of pleasing the competition. Get out the way.
I love it. What are we looking at tonight?
Man, favorite pick going first early tonight with, it's just this line is up to 8.5 right now with Purdue and Texas. And that, in the middle of the season, that might be the case. Keep in mind, Purdue was preseason number 1 as well. And they're playing well. There's no doubt about that right now. They won the Big Ten tournament. But it's also, this is a line that's based over the entire resume. And there's no question that Texas is playing much better form lately. No team has played 3 games in the tournament but them. And, it's the big guy, Lithuanian 7-footer, man, that's really developed. My podcast partner, Paul Stone, a Texas alum, said, man, he is really surging in like last 6 or 8 games. I am a little worried about him getting in foul trouble. I think that Painter, that would be my strategy to go right at him with their 2 bigs that they have. But this is just way too many points with the way Texas is playing right now. We're going to take the Longhorns plus the 8.5. I would even sprinkle a little money line on it. That's like plus 295, plus 300.
Plus 320 right now.
There we go. So do it. My second best bet is the late one tonight, and that's in Houston. I took a little bit of a flyer on them at plus 12-1 to win the whole thing because there was no prices on the number 1 seeds, anticipating that they would be able to play at home at the Toyota Center. Now look, the Busch Light Big Red crew is coming from Lincoln. We know that. And Iowa and Illinois are not returning tickets. So it won't be like Oklahoma City, Nebraska home court, but it is a home court advantage for the Houston Cougars. I love how they play defense the last couple of games in the tournament. Man, they have annihilated their competition. They should have annihilated a 15 seed. But Texas A&M won a game. I mean, they're up like 24 at halftime. So we're taking the Cougars at home minus the 2.5. I'm not a big fan of the Arizona-Arkansas game, so it's kind of a tough one. I might even lay it with Arizona. Arkansas just gives up too many easy buckets over the course of the game. But we already have a bet down on Nebraska. Nebraska's down to 1.5 now against Iowa, and they've kind of remedied their issues down the stretch at the end of the regular season and also in the Big Ten tournament where they were beaten by Purdue by about 16, 18 points. So they've earned that number 4 seed. I mean, I think they're just a little bit stronger. These 2 teams split on their home court in Big Ten regular season play, but we're going with the Busch Light crew. Watch out, Houston. I don't know if you'll have enough Busch Light to handle this crew, but they were so much fun, man, in that atmosphere in Oklahoma City. But we're going to ride them, man. Let's try and get to the Elite 8 for the Cornhuskers.
Texas, Nebraska, Houston, your 3 plays on Otter Locks in these Sweet 16 games tonight. Are y'all back at Rufino's tomorrow or are you back at Pally's?
I am off, but we're back at Rufino's, so the boys will taking you home. Parents' weekend.
Yes, Parents' weekend. We'll go see Hanny and Max at Rufino's tomorrow for lunch.
Yeah. All our regular guests will be on there giving their picks away.
Sounds great, Otter. Good luck. Thank you.
All right, good luck.
All right, man. It's our pleasure. It's after further review. Remind you about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com. This is industrial Generac generator power at Arco Power Systems. If you need a generator for your home, don't call Arco. Call somebody else. If you need a generator for your business, you call Arco. That's what they do. Power goes out, storm comes. What do? You call Arco. Or you call them now, so you don't wait until the storm comes. You're ready. They can sell, service, install, rent your Generac industrial standby generator. Giant medical complexes like where we are today at Spine Center, radio facilities, broadcast facilities like Guarantee Media, grocery stores, hospitals, schools, municipalities, you need a Generac industrial standby generator. You want Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, arco.com. All right, y'all, it's just about going to do it for us here as we wrap up this Thursday edition of AFR from Spine Center. And we're so grateful, man, to Dr. McCarthy, Dr. Herod, to Heather, the whole staff over here, Megan, Brooke, that did an awesome job in setting us up over here, and we're super grateful for the opportunity and the partnership. Spine Center, great spot with locations all over Louisiana. As they often say, put back pain behind you. You can do things laparoscopically. You can have a procedure and be on the beach with your kids literally the next day. Don't fear back surgery and don't live in back pain. Come see our friends here at the Spine Center. SpineCenterLA.com, SpineCenterLA.com, SpineCenterLA.com. All right, that's going to do it for us. Muse and Taylor back in studio. Thanks so much. Thanks to Alondra on site here as well, doing an awesome job as always. Kendall Rogers, Noah Fleshman, Nick Mingione, all part of the show today. We're grateful for their time. Terrio's back. We're in studio tomorrow. More Wade reaction. Counting you down to LSU and Kentucky. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
Oh, and did I forget to mention that tomorrow on AFR, we're going to give away $25,000 cash, courtesy of Parish Construction and Roofing. That's a thing that's happening. You've heard our $25K giveaway. All the entrants are in. The inspections are done. And tomorrow, 5 o'clock Central, AFR, Friday, someone is winning $25,000 cash money. Cannot wait to give that money away. Call that person live on air and tell them they won 25 stacks. It's going to be so good. Love blessing people like that. We're able to do it over at Parish Construction and Roofing. And not only for the people who maybe don't win the $25,000, man, we still love to help you out. Repairs, replacements, commercial, residential. We can do soft wash, gutters. We fabricate our own metals. We do it all at Parish Construction and Roofing. ParishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. That's me, Terrio, our whole crew. ParishBuilt.com. ParishBuilt.com.